Alright, so let's try this again. Not entirely sure what I recorded and what I didn't. So, anyhow, there's been a lot going on, and it's been a little bit chaotic, and yes, I am seriously behind schedule. I had some unfortunate and unavoidable house repairs that had to be done, and they couldn't wait. So here we are, stuck. So anyhow, to go over the stuff that I've done so far, although despite the fact that I've had a shit ton of house crap, I've been working. So anyhow, that is the stencil, and if you notice that the stencil is the size of my thumb to my wrist knuckle. The reason for that is that I use it for scale, because I had to, go through all my screenshots and finally find something that I could use as a point of reference. So the actress's hand rested across a dot in the right way that I could use it as a reference. So I used my own measurements because it becomes proportional to me, and this is how I sort of designed it. So what I did is I sort of, the way I designed this, I kind of had to study the pattern of how the dots were showing up, and it kind of looked like a Fibonacci pattern. So I used a set of squares. There's a triangle in the center. Right there. See? 1, 2, 3. And then if you make all your patterns, there are a series of squares that go, they rotate around themselves. And each one of them has a circle on each pattern. So each one of the circles has a point that it's actually attached to. So that's how I designed it, so that I can kind of get a consistent pattern out of it. It did not successfully make a perfect drop match, but we are artists here and we figured it out. So my son and I took about 8 hours and we painted every damn dot. I plotted it out on about 5 yards of fabric with the stencil, and then we took smaller stencils made out of frisket, designed for airbrushing, and cut a bunch of circles and laid it down, painted it, washed it off, moved to the next one. So we spent about, as I said, about 8 hours, and luckily it worked out pretty damn well. So there's the fabric. Yes, it's all mushy and kind of lumped up, but you'll see it later when it's all cut into a nice pretty skirt. So that's that done, and the pattern was scaled up earlier last week, so that's fine. I just have to test it on my ever so magic bootstrap. Yay for bootstrap. My bootstrap mannequin. There's my lumpy little old body right there. Yay. And incidentally, beep beep, I did something interesting with the boobs, because I make a lot of corsets, and being boop boop very squishy, I have a lot of soft bits that need to move around. So I filled these up with baby beans so that I can squash them up, and I can make all sorts of different chest patterns. Like I can gather, because droopy old lady boobs, they they move around all over the place. I unfortunately do not have gravity defying boobs anymore. So I made this thing up actually pretty much this time last year. Unfortunately, I've already gained weight since then. But this is one of the things I said, I know what to do to deal with that problem. But little details that I put into this thing, there is a steel bar along here, because I have yet to make the sleeves, like the arms, but I'm going to. I've got the material, everything's cut, it's ready to go. But there's a piece of steel here, and there's going to be earth magnets put into the sleeve. So I just stick the arm on, and there's a series of magnets also all through here too, to hold for the supports. Little cool details that I added into this. Also, instead of filling it up with fiber film, I filled it up with memory foam, because when I put a corset on this thing and I crank her down, it needs to be able to come back where it came from. So it took a bit of an effort from my boyfriend and I to squash the beast. We put the first half in, and then we had to squash it down and use saran wrap, because it had to slide up inside of it without everything wrinkling. So we had to pre-arrange all the foam, wrap it in saran wrap so it had some glide to it. So we had to lubricate the beast, and then we had to shove it up inside of there nice and high. So I was like totally inappropriate, but there you go. But it worked out beautifully. I also had to put in some, I had to put in a core foam. The core foam, it's just like a 4-inch insulation foam. It's like designed for houses. But that was so that the boobs didn't sink in, because I noticed very quickly that the first iteration, the first attempt at stuffing this, I found that the boob modifications I made tended to sink inward. They weren't pushing out. So I needed to create basically a bone structure. So there is actually a foam core inside of that beastie. So yeah, she's my happy little frog girl. But yeah, so that's what I modified everything to. All my bodices and everything are now done. I just finished. And one of the things I had to do some last minute studying and took some really good close pictures at my screenshots. And originally I had picked out this lovely pattern. There you go. It is an original pattern from 1952. It's the spring 1952 catalog. Believe it or not, I actually know that detail. And I thought, oh, perfect blouse pattern. So everything was all well and good. Then I took a closer look, and crap, doesn't she have a raglan type sleeve? So I was like, I'm trying to fight with it, trying to figure out where the hell these seams are going, and I finally sorted it out. So what it is, I use the same pattern, and this pattern piece here, you can see that I have stuck the sleeve onto it to create the raglan effect, and I've attached the front, side, back, and side front, because I needed to make a side front anyways, and you know, pleated it all into place, and hopefully this all works together. So that created the raglan, and there is a partial seam on the back of her sleeve. So I know I'm in the ballpark. Where on earth Chris Hardigan found that pattern from, I'll never know. But raglan did happen in the 50s, but it wasn't overly popular. But anyhow, that's the biggest modification I made to the original. Everything else is pretty much on the money. The skirt that I chose, which I don't have in front of me right now, I'll bring it up later. It's from the fall of 1952 as well. Like, they were in the same year. That was just a 1,000,000 to 1 shot, but it worked out beautifully. So everything's ready to cut. We're finally at that stage, thank God. So basically, I have to produce a garment a day for the next 48 hours. And hope to God this all works. In the meantime, I also sheared all my hair off. I used to have nice long hair. Yeah, there's just actually nothing there now. So I figured with all the other wigs I'll be wearing in the next year or so, and my hair was all just kind of generally gross, I just figured out the hell with it. I just cut it all off. So this is the shortest I've had my hair since I was born. So there you go. But yeah, that's we're ready to cut. So off and running. One side note, originally I was going to make all of the dots like in the exact locations. It was going to be, everything's going to be right where, precisely where the skirt was going to, where it was on the original skirt. However, I realized that doing that, it's still not going to, I could put them there, but it's still not going to look the same because I'm bigger. So proportionally, it's not going to work. So I'll aim, but I will not necessarily hit the exact locations for all of the major dots. They are proportionally exactly where they should be on the fabric. So we're going to look at it from the point of view of if a mom who's an actual mom and had 7 children made this dress for herself, that's what she'd look like. So yeah, there's gonna be extra dots, and they're gonna be larger. But everything's proportional. So I took all that into account. It's not an accident. It is a conscious effort. But there's logic behind it. So I guess it's time to get cutting. So hope to God I can pull something off tonight, which would be a miracle. Anyhow, wish me luck.